Thank you. Tonight I have the privilege of reading the proclamation for Yom HaShoah, which is also known as the Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day. This is an important day for us to always remember annually so that we never forget the atrocities that occurred a number of years ago. I know that this proclamation has personal effect on me. I have family who was killed and murdered in the Holocaust. So making sure that we as a community, as a nation in the world, don't never forget these atrocities and work to make sure that nothing ever in this amount of atrocities ever happens again. Whereas Yom HaShoah, also known as Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day, is a day set aside for the Jewish people to remember the Holocaust, and is Israel's official commemoration for the 6 million Jews killed during the Holocaust. And whereas the name comes from the Hebrew word Shoah, which means whirlwind. And whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored, systematic persecution and annihilation of the Jewish people throughout Europe by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945, during which 6 million were murdered, including 1.5 million children. Whereas Roma, Sinti, people with disabilities and Poles were also targeted for destruction or dissemination for racial, ethnic, or national reasons, and millions more, including LGBTQ, Jehovah's Witnesses, Soviets prisoners of war, and political dissidents, also suffered grievous oppression and death under Nazi tyranny. And whereas the history of the Holocaust offers an opportunity to reflect on the moral responsibilities of individuals, communities, societies, and government. And whereas the people of the city of Rockville should always remember the terrible events of the Holocaust and remain steadfast against hatred, persecution, oppression, and tyranny. And whereas the people of the city of Rockville should actively rededicate ourselves to the principles of individual freedom in a just society. And whereas, pursuant to an act of Congress, the United States Holocaust Memorial Council designates the Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day 2024 on Monday, May 6, 2024, including the Day of Remembrance known as Yom HaShoah. And whereas this year marks the 35th anniversary of the Global Shoah Memorial Initiative, unto every person there is a name. As time moves on, we are liable to lose sight of the fact that each life that was brutally ended belonged to an individual, a human being endowed with feelings, thoughts, ideas, and dreams, whose entire world was destroyed and whose future was erased. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Council of the City of Rockville, Maryland, do hereby proclaim at sundown on May 5th, 2024 through the nightfall of May 6, 2024 as Yom HaShoah Day of Remembrance, and urge all residents to remember the victims of the Holocaust and reflect on the need for dignity and respect for all people. Madam Mayor, I move for the proclamation.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you.
I'd now like to invite Councilmember Beryl Feinberg, formerly of this body, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Van Grack. Thank you to the Mayor and Council for your proclamation acknowledging the importance of Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. The proclamation underscores the barbarism of the Nazi era, during which 6 million Jews, as well as people from other ethnicities, nationalities, and groups of people were murdered. People with disabilities, members of the LGBTQ+ communities, Roma and Sinti, political dissidents, were all fodder for the Nazis and their collaborators. These atrocities were the accumulation of years of calculated dehumanization of people who were considered unworthy of life. The death camps didn't just happen. They were able to happen because of a sadistic leader who mesmerized a nation. They were able to happen because the people of that nation abdicated moral responsibility and watched with fear or indifference as their neighbors disappeared into the netherworld of Nazi torture. Silence is complicity. Yom HaShoah is not only a recognition of what transpired in another time and another place. It is a clarion call to all of us to take action when there is injustice, to educate future generations, to underscore our individual and collective responsibility for the welfare of society. The annual reading of the names of people who were murdered by the Nazis is scheduled for Sunday, May 5th, between 2 and 4 p.m. by the Jewish Community Relations Council of Washington, D.C. Information can be found on its website. We must all remember the statement by Santayana: "Those who do not learn from history are fated to repeat it." Thank you very much. And thank you for the proclamation.